Are you ready to be scared to death? Join me, Scary Larry Dwyer, and the boys from Pint O Comics as we take you on a terrifying journey through Scary Larry's Pint O Horrors.
Yo, why is it that the crackers are back there with the honeys and the two brothers? Gotta carry the injured dude. I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen.
I just want to get to a road, and I'm gonna whip your ass.
Jim, how you doing, baby?
I'm so cold. It hurts like a son of a gun.
All right, welcome to a brand new episode of The Pint. Boy, this is a big one. This is the very last episode of Scary Larry's Pint O Horrors for Season 2 and forevermore. We'll talk about that a little bit in a second. My name is John.
My name is Lloyd.
And I'm Scary Larry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Boy. No, I like that.
I sounded funny.
You sounded a little crazy, or maybe that you were like on some kind of like dental gas or something, but that's cool. That's cool.
I wish.
With us tonight, returning back from the jungles of, I don't know, Central America, it's Sean from Horror Nerd Online. Check him out there. Sean, what's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. I'm looking forward to I just watched it this weekend again, and I forgot how good Hatchet is, so I'm really looking forward to jumping into this. I had more fun watching it again, noticing things I didn't notice before, so I'm looking forward to this.
All right, excellent. And I mentioned the jungles. He was with us on the Predator episode not too long ago. I guess Sean is like our go-to tropical climate guy because now we're talking about swamps. So jungles, swamps, stuff like that. If we do an arid London,
like
maybe
an Anaconda episode in like a month.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, though, that means
maybe Romancing the Stone, right?
Romancing the Jewel of the Nile. Yeah, any of those. Anything like that. Fern Gully. Swamp Thing. If we do anything, basically, if we ever do an episode in an arid environment, though, you're not welcome, Sean. No offense, but if we do Tremors, sorry, we won't have you along for that. All right. So as Sean mentioned, this is, like I said, this is the last episode of the season and of the namesake, Pint O Horrors. But that being said, we're talking about 2006's Hatchet today. A little bit about that. So Hatchet,
2006.
That's what I said, right?
Yeah. Well, that was the Tribeca release.
Oh, okay. Well, I have. Okay, so
not
you
the
correct
official release date, but
okay. So here's what I have. You can correct me in a second. Let me get it out of my mouth first. So Hatchet, I have released September 7th, 2006. What do you have, Manster?
I have September 7th, 2007.
Oh, maybe
April 27th, 2006.
So I probably wrote the wrong year.
You're fucking up, John. You're just.
Am I fucking up?
Yeah.
All right, that's fair.
You're
so
a hot mess right now.
I'm a hot mess. Let me start that over. It is. It's very hot in here.
Swampy.
Hatchet was released September 7th, 2007. Now, remember, we're the same guys that called One Cut of the Dead Korean, Chinese, Indonesian, Filipino. I think at one point we might have said Myanmar, which I don't even know if that's a country anymore.
Laos. I know that's
Laos. We said a lot about that. Written and directed by Adam Green. Here's some stuff you might know about Adam Green, all about him. First of all, you might not know this, but guy directed one of the biggest hits ever, Frozen. Let It Go, Let It Go. Is that not the? Is that not?
I'm going to stop you there. That's
Frozen.
Yeah,
is that the wrong Frozen?
One.
It's a fucking guys. Fucking joke, guys. Come on, come on. I've seen.
We know you know. We know.
I've seen his Frozen.
Yeah. He directed Encanto.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah. We don't talk about Bruno, but
he produced a movie that I gave you a long time ago. You refused to watch, and you gave it back to me.
What was it?
I'm not watching this.
Digging Up the Marrow?
No, a movie called Grace.
Okay.
No, I didn't
about
refuse.
A baby who was.
Yeah, I was bothered. No, it was.
You're bothered by the subject matter?
Yeah. So Lloyd let me borrow it a long time ago. It was a DVD. It's a movie called Grace. The cover was like a pregnant belly with like a fly on it, and it's about like a maybe a baby that dies in the womb. Maybe Lloyd, right?
Womb, that's correct. But she goes full term.
Yeah, right off the bat, that's you're encroaching on my comfort zone there.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and the fact that Larry doesn't know what this is, maybe you should lend it to him because he's the horror guy.
Oh, I'm definitely going to lend it to Larry.
Sure.
Yeah.
It
So
doesn't ring a bell.
he did direct Frozen before Disney's Frozen, which I did see a long time ago. A couple kids get stuck on a chairlift, wolves, whole 9 yards. A lot of bad stuff happens, and Digging Up the Marrow. Which stars Ray Wise. I watched 15 minutes of it one night. I was actually getting very into it, and I fell asleep and never got back to it, so I will get back to that. And what is the show? Holliston, guys? Holliston?
Yeah. Love
All right.
Holliston. I have a Holliston poster right here in front of me.
And Holliston
That's his
is
hometown, right?
Well, somewhere in Mass, somewhere near Holliston, if not Holliston itself.
And Holliston is him and who's the other director?
Joe Lynch.
Joe Lynch. Okay, so this was a sitcom that was on
FearNet.
FearNet.
Mhm.
I saw one episode once, like somehow, and right because that was the lead. Who's the lead guy from Guar? Who like lived in his closet, right? And Dee Snider.
Yeah. Dee Snider, and it was it was basically a sitcom about two guys who are trying to write a horror movie, and they're big horror nerds and their girlfriends. It was a sitcom. They had a laugh track and everything. It was it was great. And by the second season, they went crazy in the second season with guest stars. Like every episode was somebody from Danielle Harris, Kane Hodder, Derek Mears. They had somebody new every episode. It was a really enjoyable show. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Sean, you're a horror guy. Were you a fan, or was
I have actually? I'm like Larry went with that movie Grace. I have not seen Holliston. I did not see it. Not aware of it actually until now. But it sounds interesting. I want to check it out. All 15 episodes. It looks like.
Larry's probably got it on Laserdisc, I'm sure.
I have both seasons on Blue. I have both seasons on Blue, signed by the entire cast as well. Are both? I know one of them's is on Shudder, right? At least one season is on Shudder.
I don't know. I've never. Like I said, I saw one episode years ago, and all I remember about it was the gentleman from Guar lived in the closet. Dee Snider was like his boss, and the episode revolved around them going to a horror convention. That was all I remember about it.
Yeah, that was the one where they were going to meet. I think it was Joe Dante.
So,
they were going to like pitch their short horror film idea to him. They're like, directors love when you pitch stuff to them at conventions. Like, it's totally like tongue in cheek. It's corny, but especially if you're a horror fan, it's really funny. It's a good series. I'm pretty positive at least one season is on Shudder, so I'd recommend giving it a shot.
Yeah, all right,
I'm going to check that out.
That sounds interesting.
All right, and then one other thing about him that I thought was fairly interesting, and if our friend Carlos Danger from the Insufferable Bastards is listening, he knows this already because he's such a big fan. But apparently on the Friday the 13th game, there is I guess like a little subplot within the game called the Jarvis tapes. And it's a little, I guess, side quest storyline. And Adam Green wrote all of those side quest storylines. You know, the Tommy Jarvis thing, takes place between 4 and 6 in the Friday the 13th movies. Well, this is supposed to delve deeper into his history and what happens to him between the movies and the makers of that game, which I don't know, can you even play that game anymore? It's so up in the air with all the lawsuits and everything. But Adam Green wrote all of that, the scripts for those sections of that game. So that's interesting. Yeah. A couple other things about this that I just had down. Actually filmed in New Orleans, Louisiana. So the scenes you see in the city are in New Orleans. The scenes that take place in the swamp are Santa Clarita, California, which when I read that, I go back to our Lost Boys episode because I keep thinking but it's Santa Carla.
You'll get that. You'll get that eventually.
I'll eventually get that. I'll get that. And then one other thing about this movie, two other things actually. This was one of the last films actually shot in New Orleans before Hurricane Katrina.
Ooh, I think it was the last.
Really?
I think it was, not one of. I think it was the last film shot in New Orleans before Katrina.
Crazy. $1.5 million budget. It did not do so good.
It's not a blockbuster.
It's not a blockbuster. 176,000 in the US and 209,000 worldwide. But you don't have to make money to have a happy ending because there have been 3 more of these movies.
That's right. Yeah.
The returns have been more diminishing and the budgets went up, but still there have been 3 more of these movies. So that I guess that goes to show.
And that's all one continuous movie, right? Like if you put all the 3 together, it's all one.
continuous.
4 is its own. 4 is definitely its own thing, but
Yeah.
you can watch 1 through 3 back to back, and it like picks up 5 minutes later.
I think what Lloyd's referring to is I read that if you watch 1 through 3 and get rid of the credits, it's one continuous movie.
Yeah, that's exactly what I just said.
Oh, is that what you said? Oh, well, I think you said picks up like 5 minutes after. I'm talking about like
5 minutes of credits.
Yeah.
Okay.
After
All right.
credits.
All right.
Yeah.
Boy,
Jesus, John, me and you tonight, like
You're not in sync. You guys are not on the same page.
Yeah. It's the last Scary Larry's Pint O Horrors. We had to let him go.
It's emotional. I think it's
It is emotional. It is emotional. Plus the stuff I got back from HR about him. HR came in, and there's some stuff, man.
I got the notice too.
Lloyd, there's some stuff, man, that I would never have suspected. To be honest with you,
I know. We need to talk later.
I'm a little grossed out, but anyways, Sean, you're here with us again. Why don't you kind of give us a synopsis before we dive into it of what Hatchet is all about?
Essentially, the backstory is that Victor Crowley lived with his father, and he, was basically he grew up. He grew up mutated. He was a mutant already. He was fucked with by all the kids. And then when he was a teenager, someone threw a firecracker at the house, and it caught the house on fire. His father was trying to break down the door. Father, played by Kane Hodder, broke down the door, but also put the hatchet into his head. So he's been wandering the swamp looking for his father ever since Kane Hodder died. I think it was a heart attack or some kind of heart failure.
Broken heart.
Broken heart. Yeah. And lo and behold, this group of people, which it's actually a rather large group of people. If you think about all the people that end up getting killed in this movie, it's a large group of people that go out on a swamp tour, and as is usual campy horror, they die.
There you go. This is kind of advertised. I don't remember what the actual wording on the poster was, but it's something along the lines of like, good old fashioned American horror,
old school American horror,
old school American horror. Because that's really what the vibe it feels like he's going for. Is it feels like Adam Green, grew up watching Jason movies and Halloween movies, and maybe said, I want to bring back like the classic like slasher villain monster.
Yeah, slash.
Yeah. Well, that's what it feels like throughout the whole movie. It has that entire feel. The banter is great. Just between the characters, like the stuff that they say to each other is hysterical.
Do you know the story behind how he got the idea for Victor Crowley for the movie Hatchet? It was when he was a kid at camp. The campers or the counselors tried to scare everybody by saying that Hatchet Face was going to get them. And he was like, "Who's Hatchet Face?" And they were like, "Don't worry about it, but if you act up, Hatchet Face is going to get you." So he made up a whole story surrounding, and he was a kid. He was like, I don't know, 9-10 years old, made up a whole story surrounding a character named Hatchet Face and told it to the campers in his cabin, and almost got himself kicked out of camp for scaring the shit out of him. And he kept this idea going.
Yeah, a lot of angry parents.
And he kept this idea going for his whole life until he finally put out the short film and raised the money to make the movie.
A movie series of 4 movies. American Mythology, which is a comic book company, has produced, I think they said 4 miniseries that revolve around Victor Crowley. There's an anthology one. Yeah, there's several different ones. So that's interesting. Manster, let's get into the cast. Who's in this movie?
Shabuya roll call.
Well, we've got Joel Moore as Ben Schaefer. He's the main guy. He's your low-rent Adam Driver character. He's been in stuff like Dodgeball, Grandma's Boy, Avatar. Lots of TV stuff. He was in Bones. I didn't watch Bones, but he was
great in Grandma's Boy.
Dude,
Grandma's Boy was good.
Absolutely amazing.
I didn't love that movie. Everybody was, you gotta see this, and I was just like, I know a lot of people did. A lot of people loved it. Like, and people were blown away when I didn't. I was just like, I don't know. I hated him so much in it. Like,
I can't watch this movie without thinking of the stuff he says in Grandma's Boy, like the when the kid says to him, I don't like electronic music, and he goes, "You would if you had robot ears."
He looks at the one girl and he's like, "Please sit on my face." She's like, "What?" He's like, "Nothing."
Nothing.
I really hated him in that movie.
That's too bad. That's a fucking funny movie. And let's I mean, you do have to mention, like Lloyd said, this guy is an Avatar and is going to be in like multiple sequels.
He's going to be in the next one. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's a big deal. And I love Dodgeball, though. I do love Dodgeball.
Owen. Yeah, he's Owen in Dodgeball.
Yeah. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Then you have Tamara Feldman as Marybeth Dunstan. She is the girl looking for her dad and brother. She's the one that he hooks up with, hooks up, sits next to, says some really, really lame lines to her. She was in Smallville, Supernatural, Gossip Girl, all stuff I didn't watch.
Interesting to note that she goes by another name as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what was like Amara
Zaragoza.
Amara Zaragoza.
Yeah, apparently when she doesn't want to use her other name, she goes by Amara Zaragoza.
The Feldman name.
Sounds like a candy bar.
Amara Zaragoza, you're my only friend.
So chocolatey.
So I was, what's your favorite part of the Amara Zaragoza? I like the chocolate stripe. I like the peanut butter stripe. I like the strawberry stripe.
Shells.
I like the peanut shells they put in the motherfucker. I broke a tooth on one. So interesting thing about her is that in the sequel, which I've never seen, she's replaced by Danielle Harris. And then I didn't know if this was the reason why, but I was reading up, like, she ended up with multiple sclerosis as well.
So that's not the reason why.
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
That was earlier.
Yeah, she didn't end up with MS until years later.
Her sister has it as well.
Yeah, Adam Green gave an interview like one time where he kind of addressed it and said that she was being unreasonable. So Danielle Harris had originally read for the role, but they passed on her because they'd already had Kane Hodder, they'd already had Robert Englund, they'd already had Tony Todd, and he's like, I don't want to add another horror because then it's just going to be all about these horror
cameos.
Yeah, so he cast Amara Zaragoza for whatever. Amara Feldman,
that was
whatever.
A good call. She was good.
Yeah, cast her, and then when she got, a little out of control with her demands for part 2, he went right back to Danielle Harris.
Yeah,
called her in, which worked out just fine.
Amara Zaragoza, god damn, that tastes good.
It's my favorite. We have Dion Richmond as Marcus, Ben's reluctant friend. He played Rudy Huxtable's friend Kenny. Bud. In the Cosby Show.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, Adam Green said he was the only person that did not have to read for a part. He said when he wrote this, he had Dion Richmond in mind. He didn't make him audition. He didn't think of anybody else. He's like, as long as he said yes, this was his role from the get-go. Cool. Everybody else had to audition.
Well, he did play a young Eddie Murphy in Raw.
Yep.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Yep, that was him.
Now it's snowing.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Also in Scream 3, not another teen movie, National Lampoon's Van Wilder. He was funny. He had some really good lines in this.
He was good. He was
good.
Yeah. Then we have Mercedes McNabb as Misty Portia Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Misty. Yeah, these girls had some good lines too. She was the blonde. Mercedes McNabb was the blonde one.
Harmony.
She was the girl.
Harmony Kendall from Buffy. Yeah.
Yeah, but more importantly, she was in both the Addams Family movies.
She was. Yep.
Yeah, she was in the first one. She was the Girl Scout selling the cookies. When she was like, "I'll buy some of your lemonade. Is it made from real lemons?" And then she's like, "I'll buy some of your Girl Scout cookies. Is it made from real Girl Scouts?"
Yeah, I remember that.
And then she was the bitchy camper, like who ran the camp in Addams Family Values.
I never saw Values. I saw the first one.
Oh, I love Values. I love them both.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I love them both. I've gotten into many an argument by saying that Raul Julia is far superior Gomez than John Astin was in the show.
Any fistfights or just arguments?
No, just like straight anger from people.
Okay.
Like, sorry, I think Raul Julia is 100 times better than John Astin was. I know it's John Astin's role and he invented the role basically, but I think Raul Julia is better.
I like them both.
All right.
Then we have, I'm going to massacre this name.
Nice.
Jolie Fioravanti, I guess, as Jenna, the brunette counterpart to the blonde there. The two titty girls making the Beaver movie.
Yeah. Bayou Beavers.
Bayou Beavers.
Ever hear of Bayou Beavers? Yeah. No.
Yeah. No. No, but I have a jump to conclusions match.
Jump to conclusions. This is the worst idea ever. Never mention this again.
Yeah, she was in a bunch of TV shows in the 2000s. Not too much stuff. Then you have Perry Shen as Sean, the swamp tour guide, the Asian American dude.
Yeah.
He was pretty good too.
He was great.
With his French accent.
Yep. Yeah. He was in Better Luck Tomorrow. I guess a pretty big movie for him.
And every other Hatchet movie.
Yeah, right. And uncredited as a student in Starship Troopers.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Then you had Richard Reel as Jim Permateo, the married dude on the boat. This guy's in
everything,
like over 200. He's a character actor. He's got hundreds of movies.
Yeah,
really good.
Everything.
He's a guy. I remember him mostly from Office Space.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. He's the father.
The engineers.
he's the father on a sitcom of mine that I've always been a fan of with Donald Logue, Grounded for Life.
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard of that. I never watched it.
Good show. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Donald Logue, another good guy.
Yeah.
He was in the Rob Zombie.
What's wrong with you people?
2009 Halloween 2.
We don't discuss that. At Scary Larry's shows.
Yeah. We discussed him once.
We did once, yes.
Yeah. Then we've got Kane Hodder as Victor Crowley and his father, Thomas Crowley. Yeah, you know who he is. He's been in a lot of stuff, too. I couldn't believe how many movies this guy's in. He's Jason Voorhees in, I believe, 4 of the Friday the 13th. Let's see. 7, 8, Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X.
Yep. You got it.
Leatherface, he played.
Was he Leatherface?
Yeah, he was like a Leatherface stunt person.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. And then I'll throw a few in here. Robert England as Samson.
You might know
Dunstan.
him.
Yeah, you might know who he is.
From
Freddie.
V. Oh.
From V. Yeah, Freddie. Robert Englund from V. Yeah.
From Tobe Hooper's Eaten Alive.
Oh, that piece of shit.
Shut your fucking mouth right now, John. That's a great fucking movie. That's a great movie. It might be Tobe Hooper's best movie.
Oh, shut your mouth.
Better than Poltergeist?
Better than everything.
Well, that's Spielberg. Remember, that's Spielberg.
Yeah. That's right. Poltergeist is Spielberg.
Tony Todd as the Reverend Zombie. Just a little cameo, but it's always good seeing him. And Tony Todd from Candyman. I'll just say it. Sure. John Carl Buechler.
Beckler.
Is that how you say it? Beckler? Yep. As Jack Cracker.
Beckler.
Drinks his own piss. Fucking me. Got a mason jar of his own piss, selling his beer.
Yeah, you thought that was just a joke, and then he just took a gulp.
Yeah, one of the best makeup guys ever.
He just died like last year, right?
Yeah.
He was also the special effects guy in this movie.
He directed I think he directed the much maligned Friday the 13th Part 6.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, the best one.
That shitbag one that you, Stu, and everybody but me likes.
And that's all I got. There's more, but that's all you need.
All right.
Oh, no, he did Part 7. I'm sorry.
Oh, with the telekinetic girl. Okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, he did that one's not good until the last 20 minutes, but still. All right. So we start off where we got a bunch of friends and they're partying at Mardi Gras, but our main character, Ben, played by the robot kid from Grandma's Boy, he's just like not having it. And we find out that, he essentially has been broken up with by his girlfriend of 8 months. And if you didn't know, you know now, one of the buddies was Adam Green, right? In a cameo in the beginning there. Yeah. So there's like 4 or 5 of them. He wants nothing to do with what looks like, the best time on earth. It's just, girls taking their shirts off and drinking and partying. And he's like, I want to go. I heard from some friends about this haunted boat ride. I want to do that. One of his buddies, what's his name? Marcus. He's a good friend. So he bails on the other friends and goes along with them. So that's how the movie starts. What
killed me is he actually poured his beer out. He's like, I'm done with this. And he pours his whole beer out.
He's a fucking killjoy all the way.
Yeah.
Like, this kid is just a fucking killjoy all the way. But you know what? Okay, so Marcus proves to be a good friend, which obviously they all pay for in the end. The other friends, they're fine. They're probably sucking on titties right now.
Yeah.
And these guys, they go down and they're walking through, what is the 5th Ward or whatever it's called, and they go to this like very desolate section of at the end of Bourbon Street. They're looking to find where this boat ride goes to,
Swamp tour.
They find the Tony Todd character who has a quick cameo. He essentially says, I'm not doing any of these anymore because we had some
can't pay the insurance.
I can't pay insurance. It's hilarious because he's dressed like
a tragedy. Last year's tragedy.
Yeah. He's dressed. Yeah. He's got a cape on, a top hat. One of his eyes is painted. He's very voodooed out. Yet his main concern is insurance problems. Which goes.
Well, he starts it off. He starts it off by trying to be scary about it. Talking about the tragedy and. Can't speak of what happened, and then he's like, damn insurance. Kid fell and hit his head. I can't do these boat rides anymore. But but he knows a guy a couple blocks down who will do them for him.
Who'll bring him out. Now, Sean, I'm going to go to you real quick because we're in the body of the movie. But what happens in the prologue in the swamp with the father and son? Because this is important. We can't skip this either.
Well, they're about the Marilyn Manson music.
The new metal soundtrack. Yeah.
Sorry, I stepped all over that.
They're out in the swamp. I think they're catching alligators, killing them. They're looking for one that I think it had to be 12 feet long, as Robert Englund puts it. The son has to get off the boat and take a piss, and while he's off taking a piss, Robert Englund goes kind of quiet. He goes back to the boat, and I think Robert Englund's just completely disemboweled,
very quietly.
Yeah, very, very quietly. He looks like a charcuterie board. And the guy screams, the son screams, and he's grabbed by his feet and just dragged off into the rest of the swamp. And you see the boat later, but not them until a little bit. But yeah, that's how it starts off, and that's how one of the people we know from the Magic Ride. Gets involved.
So another thing to point out in terms of it's the most minor, but horror cameos in this movie is that the son is Joshua Leonard, who is one of the 3 kids from the Blair Witch Project. Which, funnily enough, I won't name him out loud, but a friend of ours who works in horror movies and movies in general once told me that he was the biggest diva bitch that he's ever worked with, which is hilarious.
I've heard exactly the same, that he's a fucking cock.
Which is hilarious because the guy has literally done mostly this since Blair Witch Project. So, so apparently he's not the coolest guy. Yeah. Yeah, he's the one. I think they find his teeth in the bandana or whatever.
Some funny lines uttered by Robert Englund. I won't repeat them, but they were funny.
Oh yeah, he has some good lines. He definitely has.
He just mocks the guy. Yeah, he mocks his kid just relentlessly.
Yeah. Daddy, I gotta finish my piss.
It's a good little cameo, no doubt.
All right, so now we end up at the second place that they're trying to find the tour, and now we run into the character. What's Perry Shen's character's name again, Lloyd?
Sean.
Yeah,
just Sean. Yeah.
Asian American guy with an affected New Orleans accent. We find out later is very fake. Larry, give us. I'll go around with you guys. Give me a couple of the people that we meet that we're going to be on this boat ride with. So we know we have Ben and Marcus, and obviously the captain is Sean. Give me a couple other characters that we got going on here.
So Marcus stumbles onto the boat and sees one of the girls. I think it was Misty. It was Jenna, the brunette. So he immediately slides up next to her. There's 2 hot girls, right? There's Jenna and Misty, and they're with I can't remember their director's name.
Bill Murray's brother.
What the hell is that guy? Hold on.
Joel Murray.
Joel Murray. Yeah, Joel Murray.
Yeah, so they're filming sort of a Girls Gone Wild type thing. These girls think that they're auditioning for something, but this guy turns out to just be a fucking pervert who, gets his jollies filming girls' tits. Well, whatever, you got to do what you got to do in life.
And she called him dad at one point.
Oh, that's not good. But so there's 2 hot girls on the boat with the director, and Marcus goes and sits next to her. Ben goes back and sits next to Mary Beth Dunstan, who he makes a good deal out of the fact that she has 2 first names,
2 names,
1 name, and he's really impressed with that. Apparently, she's not impressed with him. She asks him to just please shut up. She's just just here to look out the window of her boat, and that's it.
Yeah.
Also on the boat is the married older couple, Jim and Shannon, I believe their names were.
Mm-hmm.
Jim played by the dude from Office Space, and Shannon played by a woman who's another person who's been in a million things. She's
absolutely, like, she's got one of those faces that I could probably say she's probably in a commercial every other commercial out there.
Probably a dozen TV shows, small roles. You've seen her, definitely seen her. So they're like an older couple that are on the
Patrika Darbo.
Boat. That's her name? That doesn't sound familiar
Darbo.
at all, but I'm sure if you look at her IMDb, it's probably fucking 60 fucking movies long.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's it. I think that's all that's on the boat, right? Those are all the passengers?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. And, everybody's there to have a good time. But obviously,
Except for Mary Beth.
Mary Beth is very focused and seems bothered and seems like she, besides the fact that she doesn't want to sit next to fucking, this Ben kid who proves very quickly that him having a girlfriend for 8 years is an anomaly because he's an absolute fucking, just shut up, dude. Just stop talking.
Yeah. Stop talking.
So they take off, they go and they start taking this boat trip. It's very late at night. They're on this, basically this bayou. And everything seems to be going well, but they come across Jack Cracker, Sean. And Jack Cracker has a warning. What is Jack Cracker warning them about?
He's telling them not to go out that the swamp is closed.
The swamp is closed.
The swamp is closed. The swamp is closed. He keeps yelling it at him. Sean's character is just like, yeah, don't mind him. And he's trying to get the boat started. And I mean, if I'm going out in the swamp, which I would generally never go out in the fucking swamp in the first place.
Good idea.
But if I'm going out in the swamp and that boat doesn't start on the first try, I'm going back on dry land. I'm not going out in the swamp. I'll walk back to town. I'm not going anywhere near that. But and that's what Jack Cracker is yelling at him. The swamp is closed. Swamp is closed. But Sean just tells him not to listen.
He's like, don't worry about him. He's just a crazy guy who drinks his own urine.
Which is kind of weird because this guy has absolutely no history at all in this swamp, but he knows Jack Cracker.
Right. Well, he did have one night's history, so maybe he met him. He met him the night before,
Yeah,
he met him. He drank some piss with him,
and
Sean. That's like my favorite part because when the boat actually pulls away, you see fucking Jack Cracker actually pull out a urinal from like a bathroom urinal and drink his own piss.
Yeah, and it gets in his beard and everything.
Yeah, he burps and he's like,
fucking horrifying. So they take off. It's very clear that Sean, for some reason, is very wants to get going on this trip.
Very eager to leave.
He's eager to leave. Mary Beth is very distracted. As they go down, they start to kind of talk about stuff. And Manster, they talk a little bit about the idea of the haunting of Victor Crowley, as Sean brought up earlier, right? And
that was. Was that at that point?
Well, at the beginning, because they point to a cabin and say that was his cabin, which we learned later was not the cabin.
Yeah, there's a little exposition.
Manster, as they're going along, everything seems to be going all right until what happens on the boat.
Well, they freaking just crash right into some rock. He's like, I think it's a rock. So they try to get dislodged from the rock, and that just doesn't go very well.
No.
So they just decide to unboard. What's the word I'm looking for?
D-board?
D-board?
D-board.
D-board, yeah, sure.
Disboard?
Disboard, yeah. And the old Richard Reel, he gets his nuts cracked open or something.
No, he gets bit by an alligator.
An alligator.
Oh, is that what it was? Yeah, he gets bit by an alligator. It sounded like he crushed his nuts though when he slipped.
So this is around the time where everybody on the boat pretty much realizes that Sean is a fucking
fraud.
He's just a complete fraud. Because he starts yelling in Chinese at one point.
He's not a frog.
He goes from his fucking Dr. John fucking French accent straight into yelling in Chinese. We
also learned that he
was absolutely Dr. John.
They keep calling him out on his fucking fake facts. He's doing this tour. And he's got, index cards in his hands, and he's reading what are clearly the people are like, no, because they see the swamp gas lights, and he's like, ooh, that's the ghost spirits. And they're like, no,
from the swamp.
That's just marsh gas. That's completely normal chemical reaction. And then he starts yelling in Chinese. So around the same time he fucking runs them aground on a giant rock, they also realize that he's a fucking phony.
They also call him out multiple times because I think Ben realizes that he paid more than everybody else.
That's right.
Ben paid 40.
Hey, she only paid 30?
You only paid 30? Yeah, right. So Richard Reel's character gets attacked by an alligator, so that's bad enough as it is. The boat starts to sink, so they have to basically get off the boat and onto this like really like kind of, you know, shitty little spot of land. And I love this scene too because they bring up the fact that, you know, well, this is near Victor Crowley's house. We got to be careful. I think Mary Beth says that. And someone says earlier, no, you pointed out at the beginning, that was Victor Crowley's house. And like literally as they're standing there, they go, no, that is. And they're like right fucking next to the house. And that's when we kind of get into what I think might be the most well-done part of this movie and the story is the Victor Crowley backstory scene is fucking heartbreakingly sad. Like I saw this movie many years ago. And I remembered little bits. I swear, the one bit I always remember of this movie, which is really weird, is that Ben and Marcus have a conversation about Marcus previously having sex with a girl at Crabs. And I always remember when Marcus is hitting on the brunette girl and he sees her scratching her crotch.
Yeah.
And then he just
like,
goes,
damn.
God damn. I'll always remember that. But you get this little interval scene where I think Mary Beth is like, look, the reason I'm here is because and she also has a gun. Like she pulls her gun out.
Well, she kills the alligator that goes after after what's his face, but it's Richard Reel.
So she says, look, here's the deal. My father and my brother, who were the Robert Englund and douchebag from Blair Witch Project characters, those are my brother and father. They are missing. I'm here to find them. I'm worried about Victor Crowley. All right, we talked about Victor Crowley. It's bullshit. No, it's not bullshit. Here's the story. And we go into kind of what Sean said earlier. Victor Crowley is this young boy, raised by his loving father, played by Kane Hodder. And they go to show that like Victor Crowley is severely deformed, but Mr. Crowley loves him to death. There's a scene he's feeding him like slop, but it's so
lovingly feeding him.
It's a cute scene. I hate to say cute in this kind of movie.
He even blows on it for him because
seriously, I'm not even kidding. When he blows on it, I'm like, that is such a good touch. So often in a movie like this, the freakish kid would be mad because his father disowned him or whatever. Yeah. This is like a 180 where it's more about like the one person that loved me, you know, got taken away. They go into town and these little kids, kind of antagonize Victor while he's in the truck. And then, as Sean said, a few years later, as Victor grew older, these kids in very spooky Halloween costumes. One of them's got a pig's head. Fuck that. Don't wear a pig's head around me.
That's not.
Don't wear a pig's head around me on Halloween any day of the year. That's a scary fucking costume. They throw some firecrackers in, and of course, you know, his cabin is made of nothing but fucking wood. So I mean, there's no way it's not going to go up. You could fart the wrong way in that house and it will go up on fire. And the house starts to burn down. Kane Hodder's character, Mr. Crowley, gets home. And he can't get through the door, so he takes a hatchet face. And as he's trying to break the door open, Victor Crowley on the inside has his face up against the door trying to break out. And he slams his own kid in the face and apparently kills him. And then and that's the other worst part about this whole thing, is they're not like, you know, he lived for a year and died of heartbreak. They're like, he lived for 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
10 fucking years. The father is just like catatonic in a chair, and he eventually dies. And then they say, you could hear Victor Crowley screaming for his daddy, like at night. I thought, honestly, out of the whole movie, I thought the backstory is so good because, you know, this is a goofy kind of horror movie. There's a lot of jokes. The kills are way over the top. I think Adam Green's really smart because he realizes in these movies that the origins of these characters are pretty important, you know, you know, Jason's origin, we all know it. You know, he's this kind of special kid. You know, the son of a bitch fucking counselors aren't paying attention. They're smoking weed, and he drowns, and you're going to pay for it. And that's very similar to what we get here. Do you guys agree, Sean? Do you agree that the little backstory scene is fucking really good?
Yeah, it makes the movie a lot better because, like you said, like a lot of this movie, and that part of that I like is so tongue in cheek, so over the top, that having that very human-esque background to it, especially when it's coming from Kane Hodder. You see a very seeing a fatherly quality from him when you know him as someone who is like, you know, slam people, you know, killed people, you know, a lot. Seeing that kind of like he's just like a good father who took care of his son unconditionally. And that makes the character of Victor Crowley a lot, I guess, scarier because, it's more heartfelt for him. And these people are intruding upon his swamp. That's the way I grasped it. That backstory was definitely very appreciated.
That backstory is how they got funding for the movie. I told you that Adam Green came up with this when he was a kid. He had told his friends and the producer, I think her name was Sarah, I can't remember. But they were like, you know what? Let's make I had said earlier they made a trailer, not a short. And the trailer is basically they pulled up whatever money they had, which was a couple $100. They flew to Louisiana and got on a swamp tour, and they like hung over the side like videotaping, and then they did a voiceover later with a little girl telling the story. You've probably seen the trailer. It's just like swamp and a little girl telling the story of Victor Crowley and how he came to be. And that's how they got the money. They put this trailer out there and it just fucking circulated the internet. And people were like, what is this movie? And it wasn't even anything yet. That's what got the interest for them to make Hatchet, was this little trailer of a girl voiceover talking about the Victor Crowley story. So yeah, that's
interesting.
That's what got it. Yeah. Wow.
A little guerrilla filmmaking. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so
definitely lends heart to the movie. That's what that whole scene does.
Oh, totally. It totally. You don't think of like wanting Victor Crowley to be the guy that wins in this movie, and these kids unfortunately really have nothing to do with this shit. But you can see the pain he's in. You understand it. Richard Reel's character, he's hurt. They got to walk. They figure, well, if we walk past the house, it's going to be a couple miles to the road. They decide they're going to walk past the house. As they're walking past the house, lo and behold, fucking 6'9", 200 pounds worth of head, overalls from fucking Oshkosh Bagosh. Victor motherfucking Crowley just comes like fucking running out of the fucking house or near the house, and he's got a hatchet in his hand, and he fucking decimates this fucking this fucking 68-year-old guy. He's got him on like basically on his knees, facing away from him, and he just hacks him through like the neck.
He comes across
collarbone area
first, right in the collarbone, just to like make an initial fucking hole in him.
Pretty much splits him down to his belly button.
And then he splits him right down, from the. That's I think not ancient. That's an old like medieval type thing. He split somebody at the neck.
I would call it cleaving.
Yeah, cleaving. There you go.
He cleaved the fuck out of that guy,
and not with just one shot. That was like a half a dozen strokes at least.
Oh yeah. He cleaves him right in fucking half. So, and then of course the wife is standing right there. If you ever saw Godzilla 2014, at the end of Godzilla 2014, when Godzilla's fighting those mutated monsters, the second one, when he just gets done with them, he opens his jaws up and then shoots the nuclear fire down his throat until he just explodes.
Yeah.
Victor Crowley does that to her without the nuclear fire. He grabs her by the bottom teeth and by the top teeth and just fucking unhinges her head.
It's a great shot, too, the way the camera spin. Like, you see him grab both sides, and then the camera circles her like a 360 around her until they do the pull apart.
Yeah.
Like,
her tongue is flopping around.
Yeah, tongue's wagging.
You see the skin on her cheeks just like rip in half. Who, guys? Larry, if you could look at this real quick, I didn't write this down. Who did the effects? Was this?
This was Beekler, Jean-Carl Beekler.
Oh, okay. Beekler did the effects in this as well. I'm sorry, I thought it was just a cameo. Okay, I apologize. Yep. So that's
Kane Hodder himself said his all-time favorite kill used to be the sleeping bag kill from Jason.
Oh yeah, yep.
One of the Jason ones, and then he said. After that, this became his new favorite kill.
The head.
Yeah, the ripping the head off by the mouth.
Okay, I can see that.
Great practical effect.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I guess one of the rules on this movie was no CGI. Like Adam Green was very, very heavy about no CGI for anything. So, and you could tell this thing, is all practical. So they're running. Now everybody is like fucking on. This is happening. They're running through these woods. They end up doing a circle at one point. They can't seem to get away from the Victor Crowley house. At one point, the Joel Murray, the pornographer character, he kind of gets away on his own. and he ends up fucking falling prey to Victor Crowley himself. So now we're kind of down to the three women, the two Bayou Beavers and Mary Beth, and then and Ben and Marcus. They're left over.
Was this before or after they realized that the Joel Murray, that Shapiro was a scumbag? And
that's before, because they find
that's a great. Yeah, that's a great part where Misty's like, I can't believe I fell for this 3 times.
Three times.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are some great. Adam Green could write some good jokes. There's some
she says that, and then when Marcus is talking about, he goes, so he's a metal salesperson, and he goes, and this is all just for his private collection. Then he's like, that's not a bad idea. Yeah. So they're all in on it. So they decide they're going to go back to the house, right? And they're going to try to find some gasoline, and they're hoping that if they find some gasoline, they can burn Victor Crowley to death. So they go and they go into essentially the shed. And as they're in the shed, it's Mary Beth and Ben. They're going through the shed. They come across the bodies, right? They come across the father and the brother. So she knows, okay, this is over. This is no good. Outside of the shed, we've got Marcus and the two Bayou Beavers girls, and they have an encounter. This is a hilarious scene because it throw the door out or throw everything out the door in horror movie logic. So they're standing and facing a bush, and something is inside the bush and shaking the bush. And they spend what feels like a good 4 minutes of screen time deciding what to do. Well, eventually Marcus is like, okay, I'm going to man up. He goes over to the bush, and
he's got the flashlight.
He's got the flashlight. He moves the bush, and we find out it's a raccoon. Meanwhile, from a crouch position, Victor Crowley springs up. Yeah. But when you turn around and you see behind them, they're just like in an open field. So like where he was, I don't fucking know. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he jumps out of a bush, but I guess the bush isn't there afterwards.
Yeah. And he's got a belt sander at this point.
Yeah, he does.
Because why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you have a belt sander?
Yeah.
And
aren't those all electric? I've never seen one that doesn't
battery operated belt sander.
I've never seen a battery operated. I've only seen ones that plug
I've never
in.
seen it either.
Well, you didn't see the scene where he has the 300 feet of extension
the long
cord
extension cord
running out. He's very ingenious.
The thick orange one, like that thick orange one.
Thick orange, yeah.
Running across the field that was in
There's
back.
conduits all over those woods.
Everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Everywhere.
Absolutely.
So he ends up belt sanding off the brunette girl's face. That's another good effect. Her jaw's basically gone.
Yeah.
And we see that part.
I went to Hofstra.
She went to Hofstra. we see that part of it, but what we don't see is what's her name? Portia? Misty. We don't see Misty's.
Where the fuck did you get Portia from?
That was her middle name.
Her middle name. Yeah, I knew you said that at some point.
It was credited as her middle name.
We don't see her death scene, but we see the aftermath because as Ben and Mary Beth are getting the gasoline ready to burn the place down, her disemboweled, disheaded, disarmed, and dislegged torso gets thrown through the fucking window. So Crowley comes through to attack them. They start like just fighting back. They hit him up with some fucking gas, and they set him on fire and run.
Yeah, right.
Right. So he's on fire. They see that he goes down, and they do the thing everybody does in horror movies. They celebrate. Yay. Larry, yay. What happens next, Larry?
Well, obviously it starts raining because we can't let Victor burn for too long. So
What's funny is that I think we forgot the part where Sean died.
Oh, right.
He's such a fraud that we totally skipped over him.
Go ahead, Sean. How did Sean get killed? Yeah.
Well, he stepped in to try to stop the belt sanding death, and Victor Crowley ends up chopping his head up with a shovel.
Yeah, he does.
That's right.
Yeah, he puts the shovel against his neck on the ground and then steps on it. Right?
Steps on it. Yep. Knocks
it
right off.
Which made me laugh because a few years ago, Larry was able to show Victor Crowley at Cult Classics, one of the only handful of theaters that was able to. And I had seen Hatchet and none of the sequels, So I go and see Victor Crowley. Perry Shen is in that movie, and I don't remember the plot of Victor Crowley very well. So as I'm watching Hatchet, I'm like, oh, he must survive this and end up. Apparently, he plays 4 different characters or a different character in every movie.
That's right. Yeah.
So now I'm looking forward to watching the rest of these. But
is that the one with Weird Dick McGee?
Yes, Weird Dick McGee. Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And then after, with the shovel still in the ground, Victor Crowley takes the belt sander girl and impales her
on the
shovel handle. So it's one of one of the more creative death scenes because it's like a 2-for-1, all with just a regular garden utensil.
Yeah. Victor Crowley's good with all that stuff. So
yeah, apparently he's a good belt sander. So
the fire doesn't destroy Victor Crowley's Oshkosh Bagosh overalls, but it does take off his fucking nice, like, kind of fucking I don't know, like Ronnie James Dio-ish hair. Like, so his hair's gone. He's bald now. And, you know, they start running again and they end up in a, like, good old fashioned New Orleans, fucking cemetery, which I would want to be in like on a Tuesday afternoon in the light. These guys are stuck there at night with this fucking guy chasing after him. He comes in and now we've got the 3 of them left over. It's Ben, Marcus, and Marybeth. Marcus just has to go. Larry, what happens to Marcus?
He killed Marcus. I forget.
I don't remember how he catches him, but he does the old. He's from behind. He grabs both of his arms and then steps on his back to pull his arms off.
Pull his arms off back.
He disarmed him. Right, John? That where we're going?
De-armed.
He disarmed him.
De-armed. I'm sorry.
No, disarmed.
No, he de-armed. He
disarmed him. Yeah, he took him. He took him right the fuck off. So Marcus now is dead. So we just got the 2 of them left over, and they eventually end up. Now this movie suddenly shows its true Friday the 13th like love, because the main characters end up on a boat, which happens in the first 16 Friday the 13th movies at the end. The main characters end up on a boat in the middle of like a lagoon or a lake, or in this case, a bayou, just kind of floating there. Like, just like, oh, you know, they think they got away, right? I can't remember for what reason, but
isn't there something that happens before then with the gate pole before they get in the boat?
No,
Oh,
yeah,
no, you're right.
You're right.
You're right. Master, explain that. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right.
Well, Victor Crowley grabs a gate pole, right, and flings it like a javelin.
Yeah. Pretty far, too.
Right, yeah, pretty good shot. He should be in the Olympics. But right into Ben's foot. So Ben is just like speared right to the ground. Can't get it out. And now Victor's like running right at him.
Here comes fucking Crowley again. Crowley is doing that same run.
Definitely Chariots of Fire type run.
Oh yeah.
He's like the water boy. He was like the water boy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Water boy.
Like, definitely like a football.
Then Marybeth has the idea, hey, let's take this pole that's sticking in your foot straight up and just lean it towards him, you know, kind of like you would do in a war when the enemy is coming after you.
This is a very Spartan maneuver.
Yeah,
what they pull, you know,
and they pull it off because Victor Crowley, you know, he's not too up on, you know, Spartan war tactics, and he runs right into that fucking pole and just
fucking
impales him
right on it.
De-embowels himself on it. Now, Sean, did you particularly
get it out? They managed to get it out of his foot somehow, and
they pull his foot.
It goes right through his shoe. Yeah, it comes right through his shoe, man.
Yeah. Oh, that's what they did. Yeah,
Sean, were you like me? Like that whole scene where, you know, obviously the pole going through the foot is one thing, bad enough, but like as they're pushing it forward, and you know it's just ripping his fucking foot in half.
Yeah, that had to be. Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there thinking like that bitch. like it's not her foot that she's like, you know, pushing this. She's like, oh, just push it forward. It's gonna be fine. And he's like, okay, it's my foot that you're ripping off. But like I was just so mad at her in that one scene. Yeah, she did kind of sort of save their lives. I mean, for like another 5 minutes.
Yeah, six minutes.
Completely off it anyway. So.
Yeah. So now I'm sorry. Now they get into the Friday the 13th moment where they're just floating, you know, in the bayou, and you know he's like all weak and fucked up, and he's like, "It's okay," and she's
even
like,
the background music was similar to the first Friday the 13th in that scene. It's like almost harpy and like sad. Like we just made it through this thing, and it's kind of like we overcome it, but it still sounds dismal. Like that, the music in Hatchet was so similar to Friday the 13th for me, and just because like you see like the reeds off the side of the water, and they're just going. But the one thing that got me, like, why did she stop the boat? Like, she's just like, oh, this seems like a nice spot in the swamp. Let's just hang out here.
Not just that, but what did he pull her off the boat, or did she fall in?
He pulled her.
He did pull her. Okay.
It seemed like a pulling, but
it was hard to tell. Like, I don't know if they were supposed to make you think it was a gator or what was happening, but she basically
Victor Crowley disboated her.
Okay, he disboated her.
He deboated her.
Yeah.
So Victor Crowley disboats Mary Beth into the water. She gets stuck in some like reeds and shit underneath the water, and then all of a sudden, she gets, she's about to drown, and then she sees Ben's hand dip into the water. And I remember even the first time I saw this thinking, I know what's happening here, because it's just kind of moving oddly. You get the feeling, this guy, he's going to save her, and he's going to prove his worth. And she grabs the hand, and as she gets pulled onto the boat, it's actually Victor Crowley holding Ben's ripped off arm. Ben is in the boat, like they show him one of his arms is gone. He is just fucking dying. Yeah. And Victor Crowley is pulling her on the boat.
I feel like Victor Crowley is smart enough to pull off this maneuver. If he doesn't know not to run into this, if he doesn't know not to run into the stake that's pointed at him, I don't know if he's smart enough to pull off I'm going to rip off this guy's arm, put it in the water like it's fucking his arm reaching for. I don't know. I question
the physics, Larry.
I question this bit of filmmaking. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. I don't know.
I like this bit. I like it
too. It's fun. I'm sorry. I have a mouthful of popcorn. I like it too. It's fun. But I mean, come on. This guy can't figure this out.
So
I don't think you could lean over the side of that boat and pull a body up that way without the boat capsizing.
Plus, not to mention the fact that Victor Crowley, he looks to be at least a solid 300 pounds.
At least, yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a big. And I say solid. I mean, this dude is like a young Schwarzenegger. Like,
he's like a bodybuilding hunchback. This guy, he's fucking insane. Like he's absolutely like a fucking solid mass of.
He's like the creature from Funhouse.
Yeah,
he's like
Schwarzenegger.
If the creature from Funhouse fucked that mutant from 300, like then you would have
Victor Crowley.
Yeah, then you would have.
Yeah, but Victor Crowley, if he was the son of the mutant from 300, might have better Spartan war tactic knowledge. So, right. So that might have helped him out.
He had knowledge, but he couldn't lift his shield above his head, so he couldn't join the Spartans.
So, Sean, tell us how this movie ends, because it ends pretty fucking abruptly.
Yeah, I mean, she gets pulled into the water. Her foot's trapped on, like in some reeds, branches underneath the water. The first time I saw this movie, I am expecting it to be so campy that it's not Victor Crowley that kills them, that it was like an alligator, like a huge that just like ripped them both apart. That's what I was expecting. But she gets pulled back up into the boat. I forget exactly how it goes from that point. I know that she's in the water and sees that. She's still in the water, because in the second one it starts off she's still in the water.
Yep,
that's how
she just looks entirely.
That's the end.
Yeah, that's the end.
She sees Ben, she screams, and that's it.
It's like the old Universal monster movies. Just credit drop.
Literally, it's Victor Crowley's face like screaming, and it goes to black. And then the genius thing is, if you watch it on Tubi, it ends right there, and then it just comes up and says Hatchet 2 starting in 5 seconds. I'm like, that's pretty good.
That's what happened for me the other night. I was like, oh, great.
Yeah. So I'm going to move ahead and keep watching. All right. So that's Hatchet. All right. Before we get to favorite kills, Lloyd, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yes. So I have a few notes here. Thank you for asking.
You're so fucking welcome.
You know when Ben vomits on screen?
Yes.
That's real. That's real vomit. That's not no fake fucking chunky vomit. It's not a protein shake or anything like that. It's real fucking vomit. He was supplied. He threw up on the first take, but they didn't use that first take. So now he has to throw up again, real vomit. And so he was given a mixture of cold clam chowder and orange juice.
Oh, that'd fucking do it.
Fucking swallow that shit down, and that was real. So he puked all that.
Right, because that's another great scene. His character gets like pinned under Victor Crowley, and Victor Crowley essentially fucking like like barfs into his mouth like a fucking
That's
infant.
the worst thing ever. Absolutely the worst.
Whenever
thing ever.
that's a trope. Like that happens in a lot of movies, and every time I see it, it's just so gross. I'm like, no, close your mouth.
Oh, this is so nasty. No, do you guys remember any of the funny quotes? I know Misty and Jenna had a lot of funny stuff.
There was a lot. I mean, Adam Green's a
There's
funny
a lot.
guy. He writes really good gags, really good jokes, but I don't remember many offhand other than the crabs thing.
The crabs thing. There was where the blonde said something to the brunette, and then she goes, "Yeah, well, your nipples are dumb."
Yeah, yeah. You got
when
dumb
the two girls are arguing and she's like, "Call the police. Go send the cops.
Go send the cops." Yeah, they're the same thing. No, they're not.
They're not.
No, they're not.
Yeah, Misty is definitely
911.
Misty is definitely is definitely the stupider of the two.
She didn't go to Hofstra.
Right. Who Jenna was first claiming she went to NYU. Right?
NYU, yeah.
She's like, I went to NYU. Nobody's ever even heard of that.
Nobody's even heard of that.
It's like New York University. Nobody's heard of it.
Those two are funny.
Yeah, no, Adam Green's a funny guy. He's definitely good at writing gags and jokes.
Marcus had a lot of good spots in that movie.
He did.
Like, pretty
Marcus
much every time he opened his mouth or did something, he was doing something funny. Like when he climbs up the tree, and like he falls out of the tree. He's like, I could have been seeing some titties. I should be in a bar.
Yeah, I should be seeing titties.
Yeah.
Favorite kill time?
Yeah, let's do it.
Tell me what happened. Did Michael kill? Did Michael kill again?
Manster, favorite kill in this movie. What do you got?
Well, I'm just gonna go with the most obvious one. It's Kane Hodder's, and it's mine too. It's when Shannon's head gets fucking ripped off through the mouth, back to front, front to back. Yeah, front to back.
It's both. Whatever.
Either way, man, it worked because it was a 360 camera.
I'm with you on that. I hate to be unoriginal bastard, but yeah, like just that complete disenjawing, whatever the fuck that was. Her tongue flapping around. It looked like that guy. Remember in Beetlejuice? That's the tongue fucking flapping around, and like I said, her skin ripping apart. So yeah, the disenjawing, as I call it. Sean, what do you say? What's your favorite kill in this one?
Marcus. I wanted Marcus to live, honestly, because he just had me laughing throughout the whole movie because it starts with the bear hug, and the bear hug, you actually see like the blood spray out of his mouth. Then his arms get ripped off. But then like the cherry on top that just to make sure he's definitely dead, he does the baseball swing against the crypt.
And
that was reminiscent of the sleeping bag kill for me because the sleeping bag around the tree it just made me think of that. But he was swinging for the fences.
Most definitely. All right, Scary Larry.
Yeah, 3 out of 4. It's the old woman. Like that's my favorite. When he fucking rips her head in two, that's just glorious. It's really a glorious scene.
There's a lot of levels of that death, right? Because first of all, the initial worst part of it is this
she had to watch her husband get cut in half.
So okay, first part of it is watching your husband get cleaved in half. The second half of it, before your actual head gets disenjawed, is this filthy fucking Victor Crowley creature
in your mouth,
putting his fucking fingers in your mouth.
You hate that. You know how much you hate anytime we have a movie where somebody puts their remember High Tension. High Tension.
Same thing with High Tension.
High Tension. He had that slimy fucking finger, and he's
dirty ass fingernail.
He's going around in her mouth, and Maniac Joe Spinell's got his fingers up everybody's nose, and he's fucking man.
Yeah.
I'm not into that.
No, it's your thing.
I'm not into that. I think if at that point the hands were on my mouth, I would be like, please, Lord, let him disenjow me so that I go quick. I go quick.
It doesn't seem like a quick death. I don't know.
Right.
Would you die quickly from that?
I would think once the bones separated.
Well, why? It's just
strong enough to break the brainstem.
The brainstem would be back here. So
it would. You have to be like your brainstem has to be here. Once your brainstem's here, I think once you get there, it's over.
Well, I don't know fucking medical stuff, Mr. Big Words.
Mr. Big Words. I said brainstem.
Syphilis. Sorry.
I'm sorry to tell you, but it appears your husband was the victim of a disenjawing. What is
his brainstem fell back too far.
What is it?
He died.
What is it that killed him, doctor? your brainstem has to be here. Once it gets here,
Yes.
you cease to live.
Your brainstem bends too far the wrong way.
Your brainstem has to. There's a hinge, but it's not. It can't
It's
go
not
past.
supposed to be perpendicular.
Yeah,
I'm only on
7.
season 13 of my ER binge, and they haven't gotten to the dislodged brainstem yet.
No.
So,
Anthony Edwards hasn't
Nobody-
talked about the fucking distant johnings yet. No.
George Clooney hasn't had to fix somebody with a crooked brainstem yet. So
No, nobody's had to do a re-enjoining or anything like that. No.
maybe season 14. We'll see what happens.
I think it was on an episode of St. Elsewhere, maybe.
Was it St.
Yeah.
Elsewhere? Howie
Well,
Mandel
It's
fixed
Howie
it?
Mandel, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Denzel. Well, all right. All right. So let's talk about our ratings on this one.
You gentlemen seen your midterm grades yet?
Well, they're not posted yet, sir.
I've seen them.
We'll always end it off with, especially on this episode, we'll end it with Scary Larry. Let's start off with our guest, Sean, Horror Nerd Online. Sean, tell us all again and tell everybody all again out there about what you do, your socials, all that good stuff.
Socials are, it's at Horror Nerd Online. I couldn't get the last E. I'm waiting until Elon fully takes over so I can buy that last E. But it's Horror Nerd Online if you look at it on Twitter. I'm on Facebook under Horror Nerd Online as well. And it's just, reviews, letting people know about movies that are coming out, all the movies that are coming out, even the pieces of shit, just whatever I can, find, all the information, press releases that are sent. So if you have anything you want me to know or you want to submit, let me know. I'm emailable.
All right.
And I'm going to... Do I give my rating now, or do I let everybody else go on?
No, you go first.
No, go ahead.
Okay, cool. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's up there.
Well, Sean, you fucked up already.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't explain the rules. I usually do. I usually do at this point. No, it's okay. I'll just start over. All right, Sean. Thank you for telling us all about your website. I was on it yesterday or today. You were talking about how it was the 30th anniversary of Alien 3, which I love. Everybody hates that movie. I love it. I'm very excited. I'm going to probably watch it this week. Pint O Horrors rules. We go on a 0 to 5 scale. 0 the worst, 5 the best, quarter and half optional. Larry, last time on Pint O Horrors, what are we going to be rating this on?
Let's Bayou Beavers.
All right. So, Sean, what do you give this on a scale of 5 in Bayou Beavers?
I'm going to give it, I'll up it a little bit from my previous, mathematically speaking. I'm going to say 3.75 out of 5 Bayou Beavers. So one of those beavers is only 3/4 of a beaver, which is, depending on how you look at it, that's really.
It's been de-beavered.
Right. It's a shaved beaver.
The unbeavering. The unbeavering. All right, Manster, what do you give 2007's? Not 6, you motherfucker. That was me.
That's right.
2007's Hatchet.
First I would like to say, if I had thought of Hatchet, I would have used it in my my best comedy horror when we did our live stream, because this movie has so much humor and it's a great horror movie.
Oh, it is funny.
So I would have used that. But this thing, yes, over the top gore. I mean, it's incredible. It's campy action. It's got the dark cinematography. It's got that old school 80s vibe,
Yeah.
It taps into what makes those 80s movies box office hits and loved, and gives us the archetypical character. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Heads don't stay on shoulders very long in Hatchet, and it's great. I also give it 3.75 out of 5 Bayou Beavers.
All right. Well, I'm going to be unpopular here. I do enjoy this movie. It's a short runtime. It's an hour and 24 minutes. And I get it. We're meeting the characters. We're setting everything up. I wish that the Victor Crowley section of this movie started earlier. I feel like there's more of the boat ride and more of the character setup and more of that stuff than for me needs to be in it. I think we still could have gotten set up with these characters and everything. I do enjoy the practical effects a lot. I do enjoy the humor in it a lot. But in the end, I feel like it ends when it's just getting started. Now, part of that you could say is, well, it rolls right into Hatchet 2. And that may be very true, but that's not rating Hatchet 1 for me. So I give it a 2.75. I do like this movie, but I just wish 15 minutes prior than what we got, we started the Victor Crowley stuff, and we jumped into it a little bit earlier. Because really, it seems like 40 or 50 minutes before he drops in, and then it's like, it's just a race to the end, and it feels like, we never really got much of that or much of him against these characters. We got more of them, bickering and all that stuff. So I do enjoy this movie, but I'm going to go 2.75. All right. Okay. Scary Larry, how many... Oh, here he goes, this motherfucker.
Well, I don't want to burst your bubble, but he did kill somebody two people in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Set up.
That's right.
That's right. Set up, sure. And that goes a long way. Maybe it would have been a 2.5 if he didn't do that. Maybe it would have been a 2.25 if he didn't do that.
Couldn't at least get to 3, huh? Wow.
No, it doesn't get to a 3. It doesn't get to a 3.
Is it a solid 2.75?
Oh, absolutely. I said I like this movie. I said I like this movie. And I will also say, and I've seen it, I don't know if we'll ever review it on this show or not, but I like Victor Crowley more than this, the fourth one. I would give that a higher rating. And I feel like that's similar setup, but I feel like there might be, from what I remember, more of the Victor Crowley stuff.
But we also saw that in a crowd setting in a theater. So
yeah, no, and I do have the Blu-ray. I should throw it in. I have not seen that since then, but I look forward to watching that again. All right, so Scary Larry, what do you give out of Bayou Beavers? What do you give the very last, the 20th of 20 films we've done in 2 seasons on Scary Larry's Pint O Horrors? What do you give the very last film, Hatchet?
Man, that's first of all, I can't believe season 2 is coming to an end. It's been a great run. This is season 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Listen, Hatchet, I don't know if you realize, is the movie that made me start reviewing movies.
Wow.
I had a blog that I created just to review this movie when it came out. And that was way pre Horror News Network for me. I started a blog so I could review this movie because I was so impressed with it. Now, was I impressed because it's a fantastically well done? No, it's not. I was impressed by the heart of this movie. You could tell it's very easy to see that this movie is made by a guy who adores horror. And it wasn't, he didn't just make a movie, if you look from the outside, oh, well, sure, he's stuck in every well name he could find. He got Tony Todd and Kane Hodder, Robert Englund. It's so much more than that. He already obviously knew and had Hatchet 2 planned before he made this, so he had this whole story in his head already, knew that he was going to tell this whole story. And I just really appreciate what he did. And, there's some problems. There's some pacing issues. I get that, but I've just got to say that, I really appreciate what Adam did here. This was at a time when slasher movies were not in vogue. After Scream had run its course, slashers kind of disappeared for a while, and Adam wanted to bring back a classic style slasher film, and he created a new villain, which isn't easy. Not easy to create a new villain who can stand the test of time like Victor Crowley has. And the Hatchet Army, I think, would agree with me. I want to say 4 out of 5 Bayou Beavers for Hatchet.
Ooh, that's a whole lot of Bayou Beaver.
That's a whole lot of beaver.
Oh, I wasn't expecting to see that many Bayou Beavers.
Well, that doesn't taste good.
I feel like, remember, what was his name? Remember Justin Wilson, the Cajun cook?
Yeah. Oh God, my father used to love that.
Remember, he used to do the commercials for like Ruffles. They got ridges.
Yeah. We put on some cayenne seasoning.
Oh boy, we're gonna eat some crawfish tonight, Daddy.
I'm a big fan, and I'll admit I'm more of a fan of what it stands for than the movie itself. The movie has issues, but what it stands for and what he was able to do to help bring back this genre is just worth it to me to give it 4 Bayou Beavers.
All right. Manster, why don't you tell everybody out there where they can find us? All the new information, by the way. This is all new stuff. The show recently changed the name. If you do not know this, you know it now. We were Pint O Comics. We are now The Pint. And we have a brand new Facebook page. We have the existing Twitter page and the existing Instagram page. But the addresses, the ats to those have changed.
Yeah, I hope I get them right. So, well, you can find our Patreon for $2.50 a month. That's it, just $2.50. You get a lot of extra stuff. You can go to patreon.com, /The Pint.
The Pint, yep.
Yeah, The Pint. You can still get us on all your podcatchers, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon, everything else. You can still find us on the YouTube channel and on Facebook and Twitter. It's at The Pint Podcast.
Yep.
In Instagram.
Same thing.
At The Pint. Oh, so all three are the same now.
Yeah, I think Facebook is The Pint Podcast, I believe, and then the other ones are at The Pint Podcast.
At The Pint Podcast.
So you can find us there. So, and the good news is we are just kind of changing over names of certain things. So there will be a season 3 of this. It's already planned out. It is now called Scary Larry's House of Horrors. We're going back to the old House of Universal Horror theme, and we're going to be doing a 5-episode season. We'll talk about what movies pretty soon. But thank you for sticking around for all of Scary Lair May. All month long, we've talked about these movies. Larry, thank you as always. 20 episodes of Pint O Horrors, 8 episodes of the Universal House. We're just rolling through these movies left and right. And Sean, thank you for coming back. You are always welcome anytime we have a movie that's featuring a jungle.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'll see you guys for Anaconda or Creature from the Black Lagoon. Or
Sean will be here for
Swamp Thing 2.
The Apocalypse Now episode, whenever we do that. Sean will be here.
Anything really moist, like anything in a moist environment.
Really moist,
damp, sweaty.
Humid, anything like that. We'll get you.
But seriously, go to ConnecticutCultClassics.com, go to HorrorNerdOnline.com, and come back here next week when we're talking about something non-horror. See ya.
Shut up, you redneck twat.